Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Hearthstone gives new and returning players a free deck. So if you're a new player, once you reach bronze, you reach the main ladder, you get to choose a new deck. And if you're a returning player, when you log into Hearthstone after being absent for 120 days or more, you get to choose a deck. There's one deck for each class, and Hearthstone doesn't really instruct you all that much on which deck to choose. But Blizzard has published all the lists. The lists were updated just before Forged in the Barrens. The lists are usually updated before a new expansion, and they never include any cards from the upcoming expansion. So all of the cards in these decks are either from the core set or from the expansions of the past year. Now that Forged in the Barrens has been around for a few days, we have actual gameplay statistics of these decks and their performance, and unfortunately I have to tell you that this time all the decks suck. This is unprecedented, because with every previous iteration, there's been one or two decks that you have been able to play all the way to Legend without changing a single card. But this time all the decks are really bad. That doesn't mean that you don't gain anything from choosing a deck. It only means that this time you're choosing the deck for its parts. You get to keep all the cards from the deck, so you want to check which cards do you want, instead of choosing a deck to simply play with. And in this video, I will take a look at what important pieces you get from each deck, so that you can make your decision. First of all, there's the Demon Hunter deck. Demon Hunter deck includes a couple of legendaries, Testside Incredible, Kane Sunfury, Starsted and Stellina, but Starsted and Stellina and Zaya are totally useless, which means that the only thing that you gain from picking Demon Hunter is basically Kane Sunfury, which is a pretty decent card, and some rares like Skull of Gul'dan. Overall, not a very powerful choice. Druid is a little better. You get Moonfang, which is a decent legendary in some slower Druid decks. You get Nesot, God of the Deep, which is a meme legendary basically, not really playable at the moment. You also get 2 copies of Guardian Animals, an epic card that is used in a wide variety of slower Druid decks. So Druid gives you a few pieces. Hunter doesn't really give you much. There's Ringling's Rifle and there's Professor Slate. Professor Slate is useless, which means that you have Ringling's Rifle, which is a fine card. But picking a deck and getting just one legendary out of it isn't that great. Mage has the highest dust value overall, but the Mage legendary cards, there's Keywood and Ivory, which doesn't see any play, there's Yogg-Saron Master of Fate, which has seen sometimes play but not very much right now, there's Russ Frost Whisper, okay, another pretty decent card, except that everyone is playing Spell Mage at the moment, so they don't play minions in Mage. So that leaves pretty much like Devolving Missiles, which is a great card and sees a lot of play in Mage. It's an epic card, so okay, there's something. Paladin gives you a pretty good set of cards. Many Paladin decks are built around this Libram package. Librams are highly synergistic, you want to use them all. Most of the cards are just rares or commons, but there's also Libram Folk, which is an epic, and this gives you the whole package, so you have all the Libram cards. You also get Lord Barrow, which is a pretty decent legendary, sees some play in Libram Paladin. It's not used in all the lists, but it's still a good card. And you get Hammer of the Naru. Again, doesn't see you play in all Paladin decks, but it's a good card and does see play in many of them. So overall, Paladin gives you a lot of playable cards. The Priest deck gives you the best Priest cards from the past year, which are Soul Mirror and Setek Veilweaver, but Priest as a class is struggling, so these don't necessarily make for a great deck. Still, if you like playing Priest, this deck does give you a pretty good package of Priest cards to start with. The Rogue deck gives you pieces from multiple decks. There's Cthulhu the Shattered, which mostly sees play in Spell Mage now actually, not in Rogue. But there might be openings to play Cthulhu in some decks every here and there. The Shadow Jeweler Hanar, the main Secret Rogue legendary card. Secret Rogue just isn't very popular right now, but it's still a playable archetype. And then there's Secret Passage, which is ubiquitous in Rogue. Every single Rogue deck uses 2 copies of that card. So pretty decent package overall. Shaman deck generally has a low dust value, but it does give you 2 excellent Shaman legendary cards in our Stormcrash and Instructor Fireheart, which see a lot of play in almost all kinds of Shaman decks. Shaman isn't one of the best classes right now, but if you want to play Shaman, again, there are some pieces here that you can use to build your decks. Warlock is a 2 deck and it gives you all the 2 basics. Canrita Devonlock, Flesh Giant, Darkglare. 2 is simply struggling at the moment. So that's a bit of a bummer, and this doesn't really give you cards to build those slow control Warlock decks. Warrior is not doing well in Forged in the Barrens. Surprisingly, Warrior usually has been pretty good, and this Warrior deck also doesn't give you much of anything. Ringmaster Watley, Dr. Krastinov. Krastinov is playable in Warrior in Rogue. Watley isn't really that good. And out of the box, this deck is the worst of all these new decks, hitting something like 20% win rates in Bronze. So, what should you choose? Like I said at the beginning, this time all of the decks suck. None of them are playable as they are, so you just try to scavenge them for parts. And Paladin gives you the Libram package, and that means the Paladin deck gives you a lot of playable cards for some very top tier decks. But if you don't like to play Paladin, there are also numerous other decks that give you good cards for those specific classes. Rogue, Shaman, Druid, Mage and Priest all include some powerful cards for their classes, although some of those classes themselves are not doing very well. I hope this video helps you decide which free deck you should choose. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.